So I think 2026 is going to be a big year for Bitcoin. I really like the silent IPO theory. People who got in somewhere like 2015 to 2018, who I think made really big investments. A handful of years later, it's 98% of their portfolio. We have so much new liquidity in such a broader market, such a deeper market actually, that people who invested massive capital, actually I can pull $2 billion out of this thing and stretch it out over a few months. And at the exact same time, we have institutions on the other side that are slowly stacking. I think we're just building. I think all of this is going to stretch out. It's going to take longer than anybody expected it to. Bitcoin likes to punch people in the nuts. It's going to annoy everyone, and everyone who keeps trying to bet that it's going to happen this quarter or this half year is going to kind of get smashed. I think it's now just this thing that is lived with for all the people who hate it. I think there is a degree of political and social capitulation on the fact that it's like the people who like railed against AI, but now it's just like AI is just here, and like even the people who are afraid of it, the artists are like, I'm gonna lose my job and all this stuff, which I think all of that's silly, but now it is just kind of a part of things. It's ubiquitous enough, it's talked about in enough spheres that it just kind of is. And now they're in a place where they kind of like, I think we're past like Operation Choke Point 3.0 will still happen. There will still be fights against it, but I think we're past we're going to push it out of society and it's not going to be here. Bitcoin is just here, and now they have to figure out how to make the best of the situation for everyone who hates it. And it's in the financial system. We've got ETFs, we've got major companies that they're in the major indices that are holding Bitcoin on their treasury. It's in every damn country on earth. There's tons of development and jobs and infrastructure around it now. The US is the highest amount of Bitcoin mining in the world, in the continental US, and it's freaking balancing energy grids, and it won't stop growing no matter what they throw at it, no matter how much politics, yay or nay, it just doesn't matter, it just is. Bitcoin just is. I really like the silent IPO theory. Is that it opened up into so much new liquidity and into so many new markets in such a short span of time, generally speaking, like a year and a half. There's just a staggering amount of consolidation going on. And if you look at it's like the 5 to 7 year, 5 to even like 10 year addresses, there's more movement and decrease in those balances. So there's this kind of like 2017 era of people who got in somewhere like 2015 to 2018 who I think made really big investments. Like imagine this was when it first became normalized, or it first became like in the public mind, right? 2017 was like that bubble. Imagine somebody who has $100 million and they make an investment. They have like 3% of their portfolio goes to like really high risk stuff, and they buy a ton of Bitcoin in that era. And they invest their whole 3%. A handful of years later, it's 98% of their portfolio. Like, we're in 2021, 2022, but they can't exit that. They don't have the liquidity to dump $200 million on the market without literally dumping the price. And how many of those people got there? Like I think the Spanish a billionaire, I think, even started talking about it first in that era. Like there were those people who were secretly and slowly getting in. And I think an enormous amount, a significant amount of those people are basically in the place where we have $3 billion worth of liquidity every single day. I can move my 98 or my now 110% of my portfolio of Bitcoin back down to, let's say, a 20% risk portfolio. And we'll call Bitcoin a medium risk now, and I'll keep a significant amount into it, but now I want to slowly slowly divest for land, for more capital, for expanding my business, etc. And I really think that's what we have. We have so much new liquidity in such a broader market, such a deeper market, actually, that massive people who invested massive capital actually they're not in a hurry. They're not panic selling. They're just selling into, all right, now I've got my 100x. Like I just had the biggest win that I've ever had for the size of this investment, and now I can pull $2 billion out of this thing and give it a few weeks. I'll get a good price. I can maybe stretch it out over a few months, and at the exact same time, we have institutions on the other side that are slowly stacking. So I have that amount of liquidity coming in at the same time. And we have a little bit of hesitation because everybody in the ETFs, all this new liquidity, is kind of dumb money. Anybody buying paper Bitcoin, just kind of by definition, is not going to be holding on to it very hard. They don't know what they're getting. And so we do have these fluctuations that I think are a little bit bigger, bigger in time. Like they just, these big ocean waves as opposed to like high, crazy surf crash on the beach sort of waves. I think we're just building. I think all of this is going to stretch out. It's going to take longer than anybody expected it to. I think as soon as we start to see those patterns, 2025 is going to be the big green candle. Yep. It's I'm going to punch you in the nuts because you expect something, and Bitcoin likes to punch people in the nuts. We're gonna get there, but it's gonna be the path of greatest pain. I don't think there is a behind or on track or ahead of schedule. I think I've really always liked, well, the way Andreas Antonopoulos said it back in like 2012 or 2013, whatever that video was, is he said, we will fail to scale forever. Like, we will fail to scale gracefully, I believe is what it was. And all I can think is that, like, one of the things I've dug into on the show for over and over and over again is just internet history, trying to find parallels in other protocols and other projects and Linux development, TCP/IP, and all of that stuff. And all I can think is that if you actually look at like the conversations and the mindset, everybody thought it was falling apart. And it was a disaster, and everybody was making the wrong decisions. And but we're here, and the internet is working, and we're on this show. And I really just kind of think that's what's happening with Bitcoin. In fact, I almost feel like we're ahead of the game because we're so focused on, if I had to lean towards one, I would say we're ahead of the game because we're so focused on the end game of like everybody doing retail payments. And I think we're way further out from that than people actually think. I still think we have deca-trillion-dollar markets on just how unbelievable Bitcoin is as a collateral, as a reserve asset, as just a kind of monetary foundation rather than a programmable network and a payment system. But we've been so focused on that we keep building tools and tinkering and all of that stuff, which is great because I use it all the time on a Bitcoin standard. For my sake, I love it, but I don't think the general anything is ready for that yet. I think we're doing just fine. I think everybody's just expecting too much and expecting this kind of like fairy tale version of what the end game of Bitcoin is rather than thinking about the reality of what it is and the incredible things that it can do right this moment. And just how far, there's just a lot to build. There's a lot to build. There's 1,000 layers to this. We're replacing the global financial infrastructure. We really are. The financial and monetary base. And the first time it took 450 years to build to get us to where we are. The quote unquote virtual, the paper infrastructure of the global monetary and financial system started really in the late 1500s, early 1600s with the Amsterdam Beurs. And we're probably going to do it in 60 years this time, but we're going to replace the whole thing. But it's going to take 60 years. It's going to take 3 generations. So, yeah, slow down.
So looking forward to 2026, who will bend the knee to Bitcoin in 2026? One person and one organization.
I kind of think it will be the Canadian government because because they kind of made Bitcoin their enemy with the trucker convoy. And the way they reacted and the way they kind of went after everyone trying to get the information and the memo that the government sent, or the notice that the government sent to the nunchuck guys, to Hugo, and which was kind of an epic thing. But they've been very, very left-wing, and I do think and I don't mean that necessarily in like the political left. I mean it left as in like the kind of like the hard ideological left.
Tribals.
Yeah. And I think they're in such a bad position with their debt that I think they will have to basically make a space. There will be a part of the government that aggressively fights it, but I think there will be a part of the government that recognizes that it's the only thing that they can do, because there's no way out of their situation, and they're going to be a step ahead in their disaster than the US, because obviously the US is the biggest dog, and the biggest dog always falls last. So I think Canada is going to have a bit of a quote-unquote change of heart, because otherwise their situation is going to get progressively worse. I think 2026 is going to be a big year for Bitcoin. And if they don't make a play, they're just going to look stupid and behind on top of being in a terrible financial situation. And that's just not a recipe to add insult to injury. And I think they're going to capitulate to try to avoid that. Mutual funds, retirement funds, it will be everything that wants a long-term position. Everybody who is sick of and not interested in, wants to dump their 50-year mortgages to get something that's actually going to have some sort of a substantial holding in 10 years. I think increasingly we will have people looking at that 10-year marker, like what am I going to do in 10 years, and how is our capital going to lay out, because we're moving into, I think, an easing period, and people are just going to want to hold something that gives them some sort of security. And I think slowly but surely there is a significant part of the mindset of the social mentality, the social what's the word? Yeah, so the social sphere. There's a part of the social sphere that I think will begin to see, and the financial world that will begin to see Bitcoin as, this is actually safe, and it's just enough out there that it's not tied to all of this, and I need my foot in the door. Like I need to hold a piece of this. And I think all of that is basically a small window into, it's like that's this is the year of like the acceptance of this, like this is now okay to do. And in 2026, I believe 2025 is the preparation for 2026 being, this is kind of a smart thing to do. And I think that's where we're headed. I think we're bullish for a while. I think we're bullish in exactly the way that's going to confuse and confound as many people who are expecting it to be 2 months worth of just hyper green candles, and then we're just gonna absolutely slam back down and take just long enough that everybody's like, wait, is that it? And then we're gonna go up again. And I think we're gonna do this weird, kind of logarithmic, or like this slow ramping up of these large, like I said, these large ocean waves. Mm-hmm. This little crab crawl with a small climb and a crab crawl. And I think it's going to annoy everyone, and everyone who keeps trying to bet that it's going to happen this quarter or this half year is going to kind of get smashed, because about the time that right room when we get around the time is about to run out and margins are being called or things are having to be refinanced, then it's going to dump and it's going to force sell and then it's going to start climbing again. Like, I think everything's just going to stretch out, and what we expected to happen in 2025 will stretch out over the next 2 to 3 years, and it will be this slow, painful climb that just doesn't stop for quite a while. We don't have an aggressive bear market, and we have a couple of small aggressive bull markets followed by psych outs, and then more very deep growth, and I think it goes for quite some time.